Hey, hey.
Yo, what's up, Sarah? How we doing?
Good, how are you?
I asked Sarah to come on. She's out. She's one of our big members of students of dentistry, and I want to have her on just so we could brainstorm ideas. I want to make some moves. We had that great conversation last year.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Britta's in the back. Oh, we got two
Wow,
dogs.
look at this. And a whole party. That's
What's the
awesome.
other dog's name?
Annie.
Andy?
Annie. Yeah, Britta and Annie.
Awesome, awesome. Gil, how we doing?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Good to see you, Brendan. Yeah, doing well, man. Can't complain. Busy day, busy start to the Monday, to the week, but it's going well.
Oh, I'm
How are
sure.
you?
I'm sure. Good, good. Just post call today, so I had the day off after about 9 a.m.
Nice.
And then I should probably sleep. I just get to work. The usual. It's
Oh,
good. It's good. So
sure.
where are you at right now? You're a D4 year, right?
Yeah, D4 now. Yeah. So very exciting times for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is where it starts to come to a close, right? So and what
Yeah, I
figure
mean
out?
it's kind of crazy thinking about like a D1 to 3, like we learned so much, did so much, learned all of these little tricks from preclinical faculty, and now we're actually getting in clinic and doing a ton more and learning from different faculty members, their different perspectives from out in private practice or many years in academia, little tricks and tips for different procedures, and everyone does things a little bit differently. So it's been nice working with, a lot of different people on various cases. I'm learning a lot, honestly.
Awesome. Awesome. Who's your favorite faculty member right now?
I mean, in general clinic, probably Dr. K or Dr. Grossman,
Mm-hmm.
who like just know their way around any case, really. Dr. Stern, also really amazing mentor and just super kind, super patient, and like has all these old school tricks in his back pocket that he just like pulls out and helps you out.
Dr. Grossman and Stern. I didn't. Oh, Dr. Stern. Yes, yes, yes. I know Dr.
Yeah.
Stern. Dr.
Dr.
Grossman.
Grossman was not here when you graduated.
That's why. That's why. Are you in group B?
So they did away with the group model, and now it's kind of back to years, just like year like D2, D3, D4 clinic basically, and so there's no GPLs really. We just have Dr. Nguyen as our clinic director.
Okay, good. She was our clinic director too. Yeah, I liked her. Dr. Stern. I worked with
Mhm.
Dr. K as well. Those are the primary. Dr. Cash is my boy, but those are
Yeah,
my. Yeah, yeah, cool, cool. That's interesting that they got away with the group model. I mean, who knows?
yeah, it had its own issues, and so for more equitable distribution of patients and cases, I think they kind of reverted back to an older model.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'm sure. I mean, they had an outstanding placements and I mean clinic experience of previous generations, alumni from Stony Brook. So the group model, I think that was Dr. Trular's thing. Who knows? But I wanted to ask, so residency applications now, right? Are you still looking? Your brother was in California, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Good memory. But yeah, my brother's in Cali. So I applied to a few GPRs out there, but mostly applied to GPRs in downstate New York, Long Island, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens. Um, Quite a few GPRs, but just tossing my name out there and kind of see what happens. If they invite me for an interview, feel it out, and just work with the match. And I'm actually pretty interested in endo, so I'll apply for that next spring.
Oh, excellent. I could put you in touch with some people. I highly, highly
Okay.
recommend looking at endo at VA programs such as the
Hmm.
VA right here in Manhattan. I think they're
Hmm.
paid, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the NYU Langone program is paid, the one in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Similar, but VA maybe too. Definitely recommend looking into. I think you got to do GPR right, and then you apply, and then it's 2 years. Yeet, Anastasia. I don't
Mhm.
know what her last name was.
Chloe's at back at Stony Brook now. So
Excellent. All good things.
all
All good
good people.
things.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you looking to make that switch to Cali, or really kind of focusing on New York area?
I mean, I'm open to feeling it out still. I mean, I'm taking the CDCA this Saturday, not because it's helpful to practice in New York, but because I want it to, just in case if I want to practice in Jersey or Connecticut or Cali or wherever, really, anywhere in between, wherever opportunity takes me, I would love to just be open to that.
Awesome. Awesome. Sarah, are you a part of ASDA in Houston?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Not
oh,
yet. Not yet. So I'm still in the PhD part. I have like no interaction with the dental school whatsoever. So
I see. Okay. Oh man, is it like separate campuses? So Gil, so Sarah's in the DDS or DMD and PhD. Which one is it?
yes.
DDS and PhD program. So she's got a long ways to go.
So how does it work? Did you start your DDS and then you kind of go to PhD or
Ours is PhD work first. So I have 3 or 4 years of PhD work and then the 4 years of dental school after that. So I'm in my second year of my PhD program. So we'll see
very
what
cool.
happens. Depends on how much research I get done in the next couple of years. But
Very nice. No, I mean you got a ways ahead of you, but that's very cool that they have that dual degree program. We have one here too, but it's kind of structured differently. You do PhD at the end.
I can't imagine that. Could you imagine having to do that on top of dental school? I mean, luckily, Sarah, it's kind of PhD first and then DDS after, but I mean, one on top of the other. I really hope you don't have like projects or some experiments to
But
run.
they won't let you. That's why I said 3 or 4 years. It just depends on how much data you get. They won't let you start dental school until you like pretty much done with everything because you just don't have time to like actually be in lab. So
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, awesome.
Good
Gil,
luck.
where are you at right now as far as ASDA involvement still?
I mean, right now I'm kind of on the back end of it. I'm immediate past trustee for District 2 and president for Stony Brook. So I'm just helping out whenever I can. If people have questions, um, you know, come to me for advice or just like how to run an event or how to run a meeting, stuff like that. I'm still involved with National ASDA. I'm currently serving on a task force. And then on the ADA side, I'm actually on the Strategic Forecasting Committee, one of their action groups for tripartite. So, kind of looking at how the ADA can better support local dental societies and foster engagement and member value in that way. We actually had our first meeting just the other night.
Interesting. What are they doing about these DSOs owning dental schools now? What are they doing about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a big issue, but the ADA is more so looking to work with DSOs and bring them in to the organization, because regardless of how you feel about it, DSOs are here to stay. And if they can kind of become part of organized dentistry and advocate for it against or rather for the same benefits and same things that the ADA is advocating for, then it would be a massive benefit to members nationwide, dentists, patients, really everyone involved in dentistry around the country.
Interesting. Interesting. It sounds good, but corporate anything in healthcare, I do think starts to look the other direction away from patients and towards the insurance, the monetary value, the financials. But we'll see how it pans out. We will see how
Yeah.
it pans out. You got to let the results speak for themselves. And I think ethics will tell the tale through the way. But nonetheless, yeah, Sarah and I, Sarah's doing a spectacular job with contacting ASDA groups, chapters, districts throughout the country right now, because what we'd really like to do is we're setting up events where the ASDA chapter will over Zoom kind of mentor and do Q&A sessions for their pre-dental chapters, right? We want to keep that going. But in addition to that, we're looking to really kind of broaden it a bit too, see where we can kind of serve ASDA as a group as well, directly. You know,
Hmm.
so we want to serve pre-dents. We'd also like to serve dental students a little bit more, and then also just directly ASDA. And kind of where we left off, we'd like the pre-dent mentor map to kind of grow into a bigger thing because just like you had mentioned, how do you find out about residency programs in New York? How do you find about residency programs for you specifically in
Yeah,
California rather than just besides your brother, besides looking at websites? Wouldn't it be great if you could get in touch with current residents, current specialty residents in different programs to the United States? So while we're growing, we wanted to see if we could share that vision with you and then take some of your insight and your vision and see where we could implement that in the map and see, you're going to be applying. I know you're going to be getting busy in residency and then on to endo from there, potentially, right? Um,
hopefully.
I want to see where we could kind of build this vision together as a whole and combine it with ASDA since you've been so involved with it from up until this point. And then it sounds like you're staying pretty involved, which I'm actually super excited to hear about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not really at liberty to make those decisions, to be quite honest. Um, that's like a board, House of Delegates kind of decision, whether to start new programs, things like that. But I'm, happy to make connections with current chapter presidents, district leaders, things of that nature. But yeah, absolutely. On that idea, it would be a really huge benefit to have this kind of map. I'm not sure, you must be familiar with like Ignite DDS.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a kind of like a residency guide where they've gathered like, I think it was like 90 to 100 GPRs from around the country. They basically sent out an email to current residents or D4s just to gather information. And so I think what you're thinking about is kind of along the same vein, but it would have like up to date contacts, up to date information so you could ask people directly about their experience. That doesn't really have that. It has like program directors, but not really residents. Um, and so if a map were to be made of GPRs, OS, endo, any really any and all specialty or residency programs, it would be really, really helpful to D4s everywhere. D3s, D4s, even D2s who are like thinking about specializing, you have to plan far ahead of time. So yeah, I could discuss it with people and see the interest there because I'm sure it would be helpful to students.
We would love that. We would really appreciate it. And if we could bring you on board in such a way where we could kind of
Yeah.
collaborate how we're going to get this done, it's going to start with baby steps. I mean, we're getting towards having students at every school. I don't know if you've seen the map, but right now we have all the schools in the country for the most part. They've added
Mhm.
on quite a lot in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
but we'll get them when we get there, right? We are in the phase of signing up students right now. We're over 50%. So we're continuing that, and it's going very well, actually, Sarah. I like how we're reaching out to students. They submit for the feature. I feature them on Students of Dentistry, and then I follow that up with, hey, would you mind signing up as a mentor for your school? And most of them do. It's like you scratch my back, I scratch, whatever the saying is. But it's been working really well. And now what we'd like to do is let's harness those ASDA chapters as well, because I think staying in touch with ASDA year after year is going to allow us to have updated data for the schools. The current tuition, what's the class size this year? What's the DAT? What was the DAT average of the last incoming class? And then even bigger is what's the match percentages? How
Mm.
students matched into oral surgery, into endo, who went to GPR, who went to GPR where? And then that's from there where we could branch off into having the GPR programs, the prosthodontic programs, periopeds,
Mhm.
and I think link on. We've set it up in the map where we could do different color codes. So dental schools are going to be the blue dots, and then residency programs will be the white dots, and then the other one will be the black dots and the red dots. That's
Yeah.
kind of the direction we want to go in. And I think that's when we could add on filters on the top. So you're only looking at endo, you're only looking at pediatrics, for example.
Mhm.
The roadmap is there and the foundation is there. We just kind of need to get to the point where we're filling up the map and
Mhm.
we're signing up students, filling up the map, but like getting a team together here that kind of shares the same vision.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to help out, seriously. Because what you're talking about, ADIA actually recently updated their like match, or not their match, but their like residency search portal. And while it's better, it doesn't have the kind of filters that you're talking about. Like I can't just see all of the endo programs in the United States on a map. I
Mm-hmm.
can see them in a list, but I can't see them on a map, really. Even on a AAE website, I can't.
Helps,
And
right? The map format.
of course, I'm a visual learner. I want to see it. Yeah, if I want to be on the East Coast, I want to apply to all the schools on the East Coast. That's what I want to do. Just like pick and choose there. But can't really do that at this point in time.
And
Um,
familiar with Zillow, the app, right? Where you could go into list mode or you could go into map mode. That's kind of where we want to go with that. I think it would be really fun.
yeah.
Sarah, are there anything, because now Gil has a really big history here and experience with the involvement of ASDA. Would he be a resource to you at all as far as getting in touch with different chapters? Because maybe President. First of all, we haven't planned an event with Stony Brook first. I think that's a good step one. What do you think, Sarah?
That works. I think it's hard because I write to a bunch of people and then they just read it and then don't respond back, or it gets stuck in their like requested and then they don't look at it. So
Mm.
that would be very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just in terms of dental students to dentist kind of mentors, we set up like a mentorship program through Suffolk County. Be happy to, we hold events with the Stony Brook pre-dental chapter as well. So definitely happy to hear, ideas on that. I'm sure our pre-dental chairs, could work on that. Even the district cabinet has mentorship chairs at this point for this purpose.
That would be great. And then, Gil, I'm just thinking now, let's bridge the gap because right now Sarah's helping us do the pre-dental chapter and ASDA chapter events for mentoring. We could bridge the gap and do a residency panel. We need to start doing this too. Is the residency panelist group? We got Chloe in endo. We could do endo, peds, pros. Oral surgery. We could do a whole line, and maybe we can do once a quarter. I mean, let's start with one event, not to get ahead of myself. Um, and we could probably use a bigger team to kind of hone in on different things. And then Sarah, as you want to kind of do your thing with it, because we always want you to do what you'd be most excited about. We don't want you to just be stuck doing one thing that maybe you know what I mean? Yeah, there's so many directions to go. Gil, how can we be of service to you through this process or through your application process or just something you'd be interested in?
Oh man. I don't know. I mean, I'm really happy to help out however I can. So just let me know how I can help because, I need a certain direction to go, like steps. So really let me know next steps that you want to move forward with the kind of project or like the overall vision. You mentioned the overall vision, but to get there, you kind of got to work backwards a lot. A lot of different little steps in the process. You did come to a District 2 meeting last year, right? If you want to set something up there, there's potential there. If you want to do that.
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, someone I forget who it was, whether it was Shrivani or I forget who it was. There, Bree, and then another guy from NYU. Some people invited me to come this year. I think I'm going to go and do that again if I could be on a panel. But
yeah. It's like I think it's in about a month. It's going to be in Jersey City.
yes, Jersey City, November 3rd, 4th time that weekend.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, we'll go there. Sarah, what are our next steps? I know we have the trivia night coming up.
We have trivia on the 11th, and I think on the 25th we have University of the Pacific, ASDA, and then
Okay.
yeah.
So what do you do with these different chapters?
Right now it's basically just we host Q&A sessions for pre-dental students. So a lot of them have just been asking about like applications or preparing for the DAT or interviews or things like that. But we have a decent turnout, so they've been good so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we take it for granted sometimes because we're like so far gone from the process. But when I was a pre-dent, I was clueless when I was like a freshman, sophomore, and going to an ASDA meeting, going to a District 2 meeting, at NYU, helped me meet dental students, ask them questions. So it's a great benefit you're providing.
I think it's great. And we've been recording the sessions. We got to update Siraj with the podcast to kind of get that going, the YouTube and the podcast, because then students that can't make it in person, right, virtually,
Sure.
and they can listen to it later. That's another component to what we've been working on. But I just wanted to have you on tonight, Gil, so we can, well, one, you're in a lot right now, D4 year, you got a lot of clinic going on, you have applications, interviews coming up. But an exciting year nonetheless. I mean, D4 is a great year. And then after match day, the sky opens, everything's good finally for once in dental school. So that'll be an exciting time.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to moving on next steps, taking it day by day, but the light is at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel is pretty long right now.
Yes. Yes, it is long, but it's coming to, you're getting closer to that light.
For sure.
You're getting close to that. What do you say Sarah, what do you think would be one step? We can wrap this up right now. I don't want to keep you guys too long tonight. Thank you both for coming on, by the way. What do you think we could do? Maybe we'll start with a group chat, but to plan the next steps, right now every step of the process does take some time, which we're learning about, right? But Sarah, what was that a man in the back of the corner of the room?
No, it's a cardboard cutout.
I was so creeped out for a second there.
Put it in your window like they do in Home Alone, and then
I was like, is there a man in that room? I didn't, it was like a friend. Okay. All right. It's a cardboard cutout. Jesus, my heart stopped. I was so sick. So the process is, and it doesn't take too much time because it's like things take a while to come as far as events go. Right now, we're just in the process of signing up everyone. Maybe if Gil, if you can help us get in touch with some of these ASDA chapters for the events, as well as I think the next step right now we're in the phase of signing up current dental students that are going to be mentors, and then once we do have at least 2 to 3 per school, we only have minimum 1 per school, but they're about 50%. We need to get to 100%, and then 2 to 3. Then it will be we're going to start promoting the map to pre-dental students a little bit more. And then 2, we'd like to have each ASDA chapter have their own spot on the map per school, right? The Stony Brook chapter, I want to show the executive board. I want to show the president, the vice president, the secretary, treasurer, right? I think that's going to be big. Is there currently a website that has every school's ASDA executive board or club for that matter?
No. So asdanet.org is the national ASDA website, and it doesn't take into account each chapter's executive board for really a variety of reasons. Every chapter has a different board, every chapter has different election timeline. And so kind of updating that information for it's either 69 or 70 chapters now, and growing every year. It's challenging on staff, and to be honest, they would have to be convinced of the benefit of doing that. But there is, I feel like most chapters have Instagrams, which is like how they advertise themselves, their events, even within their own student body.
I see. Right. And that is quite a number. Yeah. And they have different election times, but there's probably a deadline when the elections, everyone needs to be in, everyone needs to have their spots for the coming year.
You'd be surprised, as long as there's turnover, National ASDA is like, all right, send delegates to annual session and run your chapter how you like. There's different constitution and bylaws for every chapter, and within them are kind of stated how they run their own show, basically.
Really interesting. I didn't.
It's not super standardized. It's not as standardized as I thought when I first came on the leadership.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, we'll start with the clubs that we have in each chapter where we have events, right, Sarah? We have their connections at this time. We'll keep in contact with them. that'll be a place to start. We'll start with featuring them on the website, and
Absolutely.
we can give them their highlight, right? And
And
I think that'll be a good thing. And as it grows, other chapters will see this.
mhm.
We want this to be a resource for ASDA. We don't want it to be like, I mean, they could be stubborn if they want, but we want this to be theirs, you know?
Absolutely. And what you're talking about provides a member value. So why not? At least pitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so we'll get there. We're going to continue signing up. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation today.
Yeah.
Just to touch base, I'm glad to see that you're thriving.
Thriving, surviving, always titillating between the two.
Yes. Yes, it's always like a seesaw. It's always on one side or
Yes.
the other. Good stuff. Sarah, is there anything else we should touch on tonight? Gil, what about you? What do you think?
I mean, you hit the high points for sure. But happy to, really happy to chat, hop on here for a while. Thanks for chatting. Let me know how I can help. Seriously, happy to do so. D4 is busy, but it's not immensely. Um, yeah, happy to do what I can.
Let's Excellent. Let's start a group chat. Let's talk. Would you want to maybe help us put together panelists for an endo mentoring session?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
If it's
so
something you'd be interested in. If it's not, then let's not do it. We could do something else. We do GPR, whatever you think.
I feel like GPR will have a wider audience, especially if it's at this time of the year, because endo basically, I feel like the best time for an endo panel is like March to May, because endo is super, super early in the cycle, but GPR is like right now. And so I'd be happy to reach out to a couple of people from different programs and see what we can make happen.
True. That's an excellent point. And then ortho would have been like August, right? Because ortho has an earlier match time. Is that right?
I think so. I think ortho is phase one. And so yeah, even I feel like a lot of people in my class, there's like 4 or 5 going for ortho. They're going for interviews like in the next couple of weeks, slash month. Perio, there's a couple of perio people in my class like have already been going on interviews for like over a month. So yeah, all the phase one probably over the summer, and then GPR. I think OMFS is phase two, right?
Yeah, phase two. Oh, Perio's phase one? Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because there's 2 people in my class who are going for it, and they've been away for most of the last month.
Interesting. Okay. So kind of like right now would be a great time for orthopera phase one. And
Mhm.
then we segue into GPR. I don't know, and I know you have a lot on your plate. Whatever you'd like to do that you'd be interested in, if you have time to help us out, because I know you have a lot going on, that would be something to do. And then we could sign them up for schools. We can we'll gain their contacts so that when we do get to that point, maybe roughly a year to add on residencies,
Mhm.
um, we'd have that. So hey, we'll
So
see what
sign them up for schools. What do you mean?
for we could sign up students that come to that. So
Okay.
if we host GPR residents, they might
Mhm.
not necessarily sign up for the dental school, but the students that come to it can potentially sign up if they
Yeah.
find value in. We'll
Yeah.
see. We will see.
All right. Absolutely. But yeah, happy to chat. I think you mentioned you have like an 8 o'clock. So don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, absolutely. Great to chat. Let's
Thank
follow up.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I'm glad to hear everything's good. Sarah, thanks for coming on too.
Nice to meet you, Sarah.
Excellent. All right. We'll create a group chat and we'll figure out what the next steps will be. We'll solidify that.
Sounds good. All right, y'all. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too. You too.
All
Good
right.
night.